Hey everybody, good evening from England. Uh, getting getting out of the coldest part of the year, perhaps. Um, yeah, so this is 2nd of February and coming at you live today from northern England. And I wanted to talk to you today about the approach that some of us are taking to the incoming digital wave within healthcare. So, first, there's no other way through here. It's going to be digital first. Instead of digital being hooked on to the side of clinical work the way that it has been, it's switching to being digital first with sort of clinical work hooked onto it. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but that's what's happening. So, if you're seeing this, you're witnessing right now healthcare's last analog moments. And on a quick personal note, I've worked in digital health across 3 continents, and what I saw in rural Pakistan and rural Kenya changed everything that I thought I knew about the future of clinical work. Um, and Elon Musk has predicted that robot surgeons will outnumber human surgeons by 2030, and they'll be better at surgery than the human surgeons. Imagine that. Usually his forecasts are a little aggressive, but so far they're not usually wrong, right? The NHS is building a national AI screening platform. So your clinical job, yeah, yours, is becoming digital first, whether you're ready or not. Drop me a comment if you've seen things and thought I didn't train for this, where you were forced into some new hospital technology. Um, so here's what Elon saw coming or sees coming. Elon Musk made headlines 3 weeks ago. He says robot surgeons will be better than human surgeons in 3 years. Not just better, he predicts more robot surgeons than all human surgeons combined by the year 2030, and claims that everyone will have access to medical care better than what the president receives right now. So this matters because the world's richest person and hyperactive worker, someone who builds actual robots, says clinical work is about to transform. Healthcare systems are listening. The uncomfortable truth, he's not wrong about the direction, even if the timeline is aggressive. So uh, here's what I don't think anybody saw coming. My personal oh shit moment was walking into rural healthcare settings, Pakistan and Kenya, and expecting to see, paper charts and maybe pens and pencils or something scrawled on the floor, right? And no, finding community health workers using AI diagnostic tools in areas without reliable electricity, but everyone's got a mobile phone. They weren't retrofitting digital into analog systems. They weren't retrofitting anything because they didn't have anything before the digital came along. It's just like the phones. They didn't have home phones. They went straight to mobile, skipped all the in between steps, and so they're skipping a lot of things entirely right now. Why? Because it's actually cheaper and more practical to go digital first than it is to build paper systems. And you'll just have to convert later those paper systems. So why not just skip them now? So if these rural areas like Pakistan and Kenya are able to do digital first, the analog era isn't slowly fading. It's being deliberately switched off globally right now. Now, I'm not sure how I feel about all of that. I'm not sure how much I trust it, but maybe that just means that I'm old. um, anyway, the official playbook right now is the NHS blueprint. While I was watching these developing nations and working with them, the NHS was writing these things into policy. They've launched a £6 million AI screening platform called AIR SP, not for pilots, for national scale deployment by 2027. And virtual wards or hospital at home went from emergency COVID measures to a permanent capacity strategy in under 3 years. The target is 40 to 50 virtual ward beds, people staying at home and considered to be in a virtual ward, per 100,000 of the population. And that's not experimental. That's infrastructure. New National Commission on AI in Healthcare, their stated goal is that they're going to make the NHS the most AI-enabled healthcare system in the world. A regulatory framework is coming this year, 2026, with a single national virtual ward system being procured. The pattern is unmistakable. Digital infrastructure has become the default, and analog the legacy. The market numbers you need to know for right now. Global AI healthcare market is at 28 billion, was at 28 billion in 2025 and projected to hit 110 to 614 billion by 2030. The US alone is at 10 billion, nearly 100 billion by 2030. That's 33% growth year over year. 85% of healthcare organizations have already adopted or are exploring generative AI. And here's the crisis that's driving this. 75 million Americans lack access to primary care. 122 million live in mental health shortage areas. How do you serve them? The average wait time globally, 70 days for these appointments. 70 days. UK patients waiting 109 days, Canada 131. 1 in 3 said their health worsened while waiting. The choice isn't do we go digital, it's how fast can we deploy AI to fill these gaps. Phase 1 of how this happened in the past, these are the phases of how to fix this problem. Phase 1 was in the past. That was perhaps the mid-2005, 2010 era up until about 2018 or so. And it was, how do we get rid of paper? That was the big thing. How do we get rid of paper? And that's where we started. I started with some places where people didn't know how to use a mouse, and we had to teach them how to use a mouse using a special program called mouse aerobics, if you can imagine. And the next phase, 2019 or so, starting around COVID era till now, is we'll put computers in all these places. What do we do with all this data? And this is the era of analytics, optimization, AI trials. The next phase, starting about now, is how do we deliver care that's actually digital first, that's actually better, so we can actually get some value out of this implementation stuff. Developing countries are jumping straight to phase 3 because they never built phase 1 infrastructure. The developed systems are scrambling to get there while managing their legacy processes. So a question for you to consider is, which phase describes your current skill set? If you're still thinking, I'm a bedside clinician and this doesn't apply to me, you're in phase 1 thinking, and the world is in phase 3. So here's the pilot analogy. Here's something that can make you uncomfortable, right? The uncomfortable comparison is 50 years ago, skilled pilots could fly entirely by visual reference and basic instruments. That expertise was valuable, genuinely valuable. It won some wars, right? But as aviation technology advanced, pilots who refused to learn instrumentation flight rules, autopilot systems, digital navigation, well, they became unemployable. Not because they were bad pilots, but because the infrastructure supporting their approach just moved. It just changed. It no longer existed. You can't fly commercial routes using 1970s navigation with ATC airports and aircraft that are built around digital integration. Healthcare has reached that same inflection point. When patient records are digital, clinical decision support is AI-powered. Care coordination comes through integrated platforms, and clinicians who position themselves as non-digital won't be old school. They'll be incompatible with the infrastructure. They won't be working. So the next, the 3 doors. We need to talk about which door you're headed for, and you may not even know anything about the doors, right? In 5 to 10 years, healthcare will be unrecognizable and completely different from what most clinicians have trained for it. Virtual wards will have standard capacity and AI screening, regulatory requirements, documentation that assumes digital integration. You have a choice right now that won't be available in 5 years. Door one, position yourself as a clinical person shaping these systems. Learn AI in clinical context, understand virtual care models, become the bridge between technology that promises clinical reality. You'll be essential and highly compensated. Door two, wait and see. If this is really going to be necessary, assume clinical skills remain valuable regardless, and hope healthcare always needs bedside clinicians who prefer analog workflows. Risk discovering that infrastructure got switched off while you were waiting. And then finally, door number three, actively resist. Position yourself as defending real patient care against technology. Watch opportunities disappear as systems built around digital first models you can't or won't engage with. I'm not saying everybody should code. In fact, if you're watching this, you probably don't need to code. The LLMs are going to be better at it than all of us anyway. I'm saying that clinical expertise in the next decade assumes digital literacy like it currently assumes basic computer skills. Here we are now. So then finally, want to start sort of winding this down, and maybe we can get to some DMs or something later on. This right now is your moment to decide. Infrastructure will be built right now. Infrastructure is being built right now, and roles are being defined. Opportunities for clinicians who understand both patient care and digital tools are extraordinary, but they won't last forever. In 10 years, a digital-first clinician will be redundant because there won't be any other kind. Get positioned now while there's still a premium on the expertise you have. And if you're wondering how to transfer your clinical skills into digital-first capability before the analog world disappears completely, DM me Roadmap and I'll send you a digital health career transition guide. Or visit rodgamble.com for weekly insights on positioning yourself for the healthcare transformation that's already happening. Professionals who prepare today will be the ones defining healthcare tomorrow. Thanks for joining me tonight. And now you can go become irreplaceable in the new digital era.